Alrighty, hello people, and welcome back to another episode of A Bit of Talk, a little segment, podcast talking segment from my YouTube channel, initially, A Bit of Joy. I'm Chidimma. I'm the host of this podcast. And yeah, welcome back if you've already listened to me, if you already know me. And welcome if you're new here. Hello. So, what date is today? Today is the 20th. Today's the 20th of January. And, we've well done to everyone who's survived till here. It's only been a couple of weeks since kind of the new year. But, I don't know. I just feel like the pressure's on. And for many people, I feel like the pressure's on. Because I've talked about this with New Year's resolutions and kind of just that pressure to achieve better, higher, and more is very intense in the first few weeks of the new year. Which I think is very stupid and not healthy and quite toxic because, as I've also said before, you want to have a sustainable progress and sustainable, you want to achieve a sustainable goal in a sustainable way, And a lot of the goals that people kind of set up for themselves, I feel like a lot of people make the mistake of trying to achieve it in a short-term kind of way. For instance, if you look at fitness goals, whether it's lose pounds or just be more lean or, whatever it is kind of, I feel like y'all should look at it, at what you're trying to achieve as a long-term, issue. Not issue, but a long-term kind of thing. Because if we, for instance, look at fitness or, for instance, your sleeping schedule or whatever you want to kind of change this year or in the upcoming months, it's you want that to be healthy and you want that to stay in your life. You don't want that to be a quick change. And then you're kind of how did I even do this? And then how can I even keep this in my life for a long time? Because, it's yeah, I don't know. I just feel the pressure is on. And I feel that also raises a lot of doubt within people, and I've noticed that it kind of that doubt kind of I'm having that doubt currently because I set myself goals when creating my vision board, and they're not how do I call this, all the goals that I've set myself are journeys. Kind of. They're not I want to get there and that's the end of it, but I've kind of set myself paths and journeys and whatever that I want to experience and that I want to walk on, and but still it's I'm putting pressure on myself to stay on those paths and to maintain kind of the environment. I don't know how to say it, but and yeah. And I feel first off, it's so okay to have doubt in what you're doing, in who you are, in your past, in your future. It's okay to sometimes just have question marks surrounding you. And you just sitting there or standing there and you're just like, what's going on? Oh, my voice. Oh, what's going on? And sometimes maybe not seeing like the light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes it's just dark. And first off, that's okay. And don't panic. Don't stress. Take your time and just think about like why you in this situation. Is it because you are putting so much pressure on yourself that you just you can't see clearly? Is it because there's so much pressure from the outside, maybe from your parents or whoever, especially when it comes to studies and university and careers and all of that? Or is it because you have just too much going on and you don't know just where you are, like where am I going or where do I want to go? So just take a second, a minute, a few days, whatever, and just think about that. And maybe try and think like, okay, what are the issues? What am I feeling? Am I feeling lost? Am I feeling helpless? Am I feeling just nothing or just confused? And then just look at kind of, this is, disclaimer, this is kind of how I do it. And then I just, either I then take in some, another voice, like my sister, my mom, or a friend. And just, first off, tell yourself also that it's going to be all right. Even though it might not be all right, even though you might not feel like it's going to be all right, I feel like fake it till you make it. And I believe that shit. Fake it till you make it, honestly. Almost with all of the things that I've achieved, I've always just faked it till I made it. So fake it till you make it. Tell yourself it's going to be all right. Even like if you go to a mirror and smile at yourself, you know? Release those, is it serotonin, endorphins? I don't know. Dopamine? No, I think it's serotonin. Tell yourself it will be all right. If you have someone who knows you and knows how you cope, call them, text them, let them know what's happening and let them tell you it's going to be all right. Because at the end of the day, it is going to be all right. Yeah? Always remember that. It's always going to be all right. There's always a way out. There are always, people you can probably rely on, hopefully. If not, text me. So, yeah. Also just kind of create that plain canvas for you to create new things on there and to sort out the things that you want to do and the things that the things that are all jumbled up right now. Lay them out and just think like, okay, for instance, if it's career stuff, if it's your hobbies, if it's whatever, and they're all jumbled up into this huge tangled ball, lay them out all single, yeah, and think about, okay, where can I put my priorities? What do I really intensively want to focus on? Is it uni? Is it working? Is it my friends? Is it myself? Kind of lay that out. For instance, for me, I've kind of set myself in my head my list of priorities and kind of the ranking of what it is. And for me, for instance, one of my top priorities is me. Nobody can take that away from me. No job, no career, no person, no anything can take that away from me. My top priority is me. Because if I'm not okay, everything is not okay. You get what I'm saying? If it comes to relationships, if you're not, the same thing a lot of people say, if you don't love yourself, you can't really love someone else. And you can't give the love that you're missing for yourself to anybody else. That will just destroy things. So, that's a tip of mine. Put yourself first. Not always. don't be arrogant or egotistic, but in situations or in life, make sure that you're one of your top priorities. Yeah? Make sure of that. Yeah? So definitely have that. And then just whatever kind of how your mind works, either make a list. Make a list of things that you have to do. Make a list of things that you want to do. Make a list, make subcategories under the things that you're prioritizing. You know, I feel like sometimes the skill of, or the, how do you call it, the act of organization and planning, I feel like is often overlooked because, I don't know, I feel like it it seems like you need to put a lot of effort into that and a lot of time and whatnot. But honestly, guys, organizing and planning, and it doesn't have to be like 9 a.m. I do this, 9:30 I do that. Like, it doesn't have to be that. But like having a planner, or in your notes app, or in your calendar app, just knowing what's happening and having that just written down, especially when you're in a time in your life where a lot of things are happening. Just when somebody asks you, do you have time there? What are you doing there? When you're asking yourself, what am I doing today? I feel like I'm missing something. Just having that kind of backup, having that calendar, that notes app, that physical actual planner, opening that up and seeing, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I wanted to do. This is what I forgot. It just relieves yourself. Can you say it like that? Relieves yourself? It just, I feel like it calms me down, because then I'm like, okay, I got it. You know? So another tip, kind of organize, plan, you know, write down things. My God, what time is it? The clocks are clinging. So for me, having that really helps me in situations like that, when I am having doubt, or I am just clueless about what's going on. Yeah, so like kind of after you've just laid out the things that you want to do or that you're trying to do, think about also what, and that goes back to kind of the first step of like kind of trying to figure out why you're in the situation. When you find those things that are preventing you from moving onward, or continuing life normally in quotation marks, think about also why am I putting pressure on myself? Why are my parents putting pressure on myself? Why am I stressing? Why is it all jumbled up? What happened that it came to this situation, you know, and why? And then how can I kind of sort out that? Like, how can I like solve that issue or those issues so that it won't happen again? And that's kind of I don't know, I feel like that's kind of a difficult step to do, and I feel like it has a lot to do with like self-awareness, which also I faked it till I made it. And self-awareness, I feel like there are a lot of steps before you become somewhat self-aware or aware of yourself, you know? I feel like self-love, for instance, is one of those steps to becoming self-aware. And self-awareness is a huge step for self-love as well. So you're kind of like intertwined. But figuring out who you are and figuring out your emotions and your thoughts and the your actions and figuring out the why behind yourself and your actions and your feelings and your thoughts, that shit helps you so much. It helps you so much. Because in situations when you're sad, when you're angry, when you're stressed, when you're hurt, the moment that you are self-aware, you know why you're feeling that way, right? And especially, I feel like maybe this is even like, or is it? I was just thinking, because like, for instance, men, like, because of that thing that they're not allowed to like feel emotions, not allowed to cry, not allowed to like show their emotions, they're lacking in self-awareness because they're not feeling out their emotions. So it's like, what is there to analyze? Nothing, because there are no emotions. You know what I mean? But where was I going with this? Hold on. Why did I go to that point? Oh my god, I lost my thought. Self-awareness. Man, I forgot. Damn it. Well, just kind of, wait, no. Jesus Christ. What was I saying? Men, self-awareness. Oh, yeah. That's what I kind of wanted to go. So, hold on. Let me just... you see, my thoughts are jumbled now. So, I think a lot of people are scared to first of feel their feelings, and they're scared or embarrassed, or there's some sort of shame with communicating with yourself, whether it is out loud, like talking to yourself, or if it's in like your soul, your body, your mind, if it's like figuring out what's wrong with me, or figuring out what's going on inside of me, you know? I feel like there's a sense of shame surrounding that because of, I'm just put on general society, kind of prohibiting or like saying that emotions and feelings are weak. They're a sign of weakness, you know? Which they're not. Emotional intelligence, mwah, yeah, mwah, yeah, that's all I have to say. So, yeah, I feel like that's kind of a hard step to really figure out why you're in the space of doubt. It's a hard step, especially for people who haven't for themselves learned to be in touch with themselves. And it's so important. It's so important for life, in my opinion. Because for me, yeah, every time which is maybe a bit crazy, but every time I'm feeling something or I'm thinking something or I did something where I'm like, why did I just do that? Why did I just think that or feel that? I immediately go into like this analyzation into my, like, analyzation? New words are created here. Analysis of like, I'm just like trying to figure out like what's happening. How is this linked to that? You know? And at the end, most of the time, I figure out why. Because I know that when I do this, I think this. Or when I do that, I feel that. And that thought led to that emotion, you know? Because your body, your physical being is very much tied to your mental being, to your soul, and to your mind. Yeah? There is no that without that. Yeah? Which is also why I always preach like exercise, because exercise, I don't care about like doing exercise to achieve some physical goal. But just for mental health, exercise is amazing. Yeah? So amazing. That's actually another tip. If you're in a space of doubt, if you exercise, especially if it's like a really sweaty, hard to breathe exercise, that shit gets your mood up so quickly, so fast, and in a super sustainable way. Because first off, you, while doing that exercise, and I can really recommend, especially if, like, not especially, can't say, what was I saying was especially, if you have like urban sports or something, or for instance in Berlin, you have those classes, Beat 81, which are, there are different like levels, like beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But those workouts, it's like group workouts. You'll be dead at the end. But it's so much fun. Sorry, I need to burp. Sorry. It's so much fun. And like when you have a bad day and you go there and people are hyping you up, the trainer is hyping you up, you yourself are hyping you up, you get this feeling of like, I can do this, I can accomplish things, I can, and getting kind of that sweat out. And through that exercise, you're kind of also working on your feelings, but you're also putting your mind off things, that can also very help, putting your mind off things, especially if there's a problem or issue currently in your life. And kind of just, because you also have to breathe properly during exercising, and you're breathing properly, and you're getting the sweat out, and your body is like working, your mind is working too, and it's just like, wow, you just get a rush. You get a rush, and that rush, in my opinion, is a very sustainable rush, and a very sustainable way or method of kind of stepping out of that jumbled mess or chaos, or darkness, or however you want to describe it. So yeah, I can definitely recommend that, or even doing it at home, honestly. Like at home, if you're like too embarrassed, or if you just don't want to exercise in front of others, which I had to learn as well. Didn't like doing that at all, especially because of fat shaming and just people being like, you exercise? You don't look like it. But honestly, I can so recommend it. And if you're in Berlin and you need a partner, hit me up. I will go with you. We will have so much fun, honestly. It's yeah. I feel like that's honestly the best way. Almost the best way. Like, I feel like there are 3 steps. Figuring out why. Sitting down. Figuring out why. However you want to do it. And then either getting help from outside. Well, not, it doesn't have to be like help, but like another voice. And another voice. For instance, having, even if it's like, it doesn't even have to be people that you know. If you have YouTubers, for instance, that just release that sense of calmness and peacefulness and whatnot when you watch them, put those people on. If you have music, create a playlist when okay, I'm in this mess, I'm going to put on this playlist, and those songs, those lyrics, those voices are, yes, how do you call that? At least, oh my god, I just forgot that word. Or those 2 words. They're at least going to call me, Create a playlist, put that on, put some candles on, open your curtains, look outside, open your windows, let some fresh air in. you know, right? And then, for instance, if you're living alone, or even if you're just in your room, try to create a space for yourself that first off you feel very comfortable in, that you're able to kind of present yourself, you know. For instance, what I use, or a thing that I incorporated into my space are my plants. Like, because my plants just make me feel very, just, just, yeah. So I have a lot of plants, in my tiny ass space. Having those plants, I said I want to have a lot of wood, because wood is just down to earth, you know. I have all of my books because, I don't know, because I read a lot. I feel like that was a dumb one. But for instance, have a lot of mirrors. To come back to what I said earlier with the smiling into the mirror, what I do so much, and I feel like it just made me a happier person in general, a more positive person. I don't have that many mirrors. I have this mirror, I have that mirror, and then I have my mirror in the bathroom, and then I have my small mirror. But in the small space, it is kind of a lot of mirrors. Every time I pass by a mirror, I smile to myself. Even if it's a fake smile, I still smile to myself. Sometimes I throw in a peace sign to be extra, you know? Yeah. And then, or sometimes I just hype myself up. And that is another thing that I've had to learn as well, to even just in the front of the mirror, even if it's just by myself, to be able to talk to myself, to hype up myself, to, yeah. And it's progress, just remember that you're never a completed person. Your journeys, whatever journey it is never completed. And that's not a bad thing. Yeah, that's not a bad thing if it's not always completed. But it's just like your self-love journey. Like it will always continue. It will change. Sometimes it will go downhill. Sometimes it's a steep climb up. Like it will never change. Remember that, because that's another thing about those short-term goals that people set themselves is they just forget the journey. They don't see the journey. They only see the goal, right? But the journey is actually what matters. The journey is what changes you as a person. It is not the goal. The goal is there maybe to inspire you. The goal is there to visualize where you're headed, right? But because especially on that journey, often, as I said, it can go downhill sometimes, or it can be very rocky or whatnot. So having that goal in mind and maybe visualizing it through a vision board, definitely inspires and motivates you, But it is the journey what matters, yeah? And a lot of people forget that. A lot of people don't even put that, like, into perspective, like, because they only see the goal, which, yeah, it's not sustainable, and essentially it's also not healthy, because like it's the same thing as setting smaller, like having milestones, like setting yourself smaller goals, like as I said, like those subcategories underneath the bigger thing, the bigger goal, It's so important, because like every time you reach that milestone, you're so happy. You're amazed. You're surprised. You're shocked. You're like, I got here. Like, like that. It's crazy. Like, and you can apply that to every goal that you have, whether it is career, your health, yourself, your relationships, whatnot. Yeah. Having those smaller, is it milestones or stepstone, or what is it? I think it's milestones, but please, I don't know if I'm correct. wow. Like, honestly, like, and that just makes you more motivated to achieve the bigger goal, So keep that in mind. Have smaller goals along the way. And at some point, you will reach a goal. If it's not within 2023, within this new year, that's okay. Like, you don't know what's going to happen along the way. Sometimes it will take more time. Sometimes it will take less time. Sometimes it will take exactly the time that you measured. Yeah. And honestly, I'm not a mental health or whatnot specialist. I'm only talking from my experiences and kind of how I kind of live life. And yeah. And all of those things that I say in my podcast, well, maybe not all of those things, because my first episode was just on men. But maybe I said some stuff that also, that is also incorporated into that. Like, because I sometimes get questions where it's like, how are you so positive? Or how are you so happy? Or how are, like, what are you doing? And all of those little things, whether it's big things like confidence and self-love, or it's smaller things like eating healthy, or if it's like, I don't know, or like prioritizing myself, like all those little things, or being nicer to people, all of those little things. If you have, I don't know, difficult to say, man. So if you just, I don't know, because I almost always live life where I'm just like, whatever. Because first off, we're on a tiny ass planet in the middle of the universe. Who cares? Right? Who cares? Why do you care? Yeah? So I'm like, if it makes me happy, I'll do it. Of course, in moderation, because everything you do most likely will affect others. But what I'm saying is, for instance, investing in yourself. And my family always laughs at that when I buy myself something or I do something. And then I'm like, I invested in myself because I invested into my happiness, right? For instance, I don't know, if it's just like getting my eyebrows done. I'm like, yes, it costs. And I might not have the whole 100K in my bank to absolutely spend that much money, right? But yeah, I'm doing this because I know if I will have cleaner brows, I'm gonna be a happier person, because every time I will look in the mirror, I'm gonna be like, you look fucking good. You look good, right? And if I have a monobrow, I'm just gonna be like, what the fuck? So if it's that, or if you're just buying wax strips, right? And you're doing your brows, yeah? If you're saying no to your friend asking you out, you're saying, no, sorry, I can't today. And you're spending that time at home, just chilling, putting on a face mask and drinking some wine and cooking some food, yeah? That's okay, yeah? That's okay. Or if you're buying yourself a bouquet of flowers, that is what I do. I love doing that. Buying myself every month a bouquet of flowers. And because it just brightens up my mood, it brightens up my room, and every time I wake up or I come back home and I see it, I'm just like, wow, yes, I love this. I love life. I love flowers. Because if you live in Berlin and you look at this weather, it's ugly. It's ugly out there, right? But my bouquet of flowers and my plants, they just make me happy. I'm just like, yes, I love life. You know? And yeah, I don't know. It's, yeah, you know? It's like all those little things in your life that you incorporate into your life, whether it's day to day or it's every week or whatnot. Find those things to surround you so that when you see them, when you smell them, when you eat them, you're like, yes. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I have to stop now because I have to actually go work. I gotta make money. And yeah, I just hope that you like this episode. And if you would like to know or have more of these more like mental health kind of talks, I would be very down to do it. If you have any other aspects of that you would like me to talk about, let me know. Let me know in the comments on Instagram, on whatever. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye. Bye.